And welcome back. We're on round 1, game 2 here on Fate Reforged game day. And we've figured out what that mystery card was in the previous game. It was quite contemplation.
Yeah, that was an uncommon from Cards of Tarkir. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, tap target creature an opponent controls and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. I think that's the first time I've seen that in a standard list. It's very interesting to see it.
And we've encountered the same problem we did in the last game, that I've put out a Frostwalker and it's been magma jetted. Now we know that there's no scry there anymore.
Yep, and your opponent here has decided to scried, so yeah, that's just something to keep an eye out for with Frostwalker.
As we wait for him to scry here, we can see that I've actually decided to pick up 2 blue land this game.
Oh yeah,
which,
well I understand you've got a few cards in that deck that need double blue. But you didn't get the 3rd land.
I certainly did not, which makes it very difficult, and the Jeskai players picked up 1 of each, which makes it...
in basic lands as well, he had the same start last time, didn't he, with his land base?
I'm very close to it.
3 basic lands, 1 of each.
Coming through with the Swift Spear. Now
you want to hit that, you've hit your land, so you can play... Now I saw a Monastery Siege in your hand. Is that what you play this turn?
Again, can't remember, it was a while back.
Let's find out.
The board's not too heavy at the moment, so the Monastery Siege could certainly come out. So there's Monastery Siege on top there.
Well, it looks like you're going for another card, maybe a cloud. Oh, Ashiok.
Going for an early on Ashiok.
Ashiok's really good to get out early. And Monastery Swift Spear can't apply too much pressure at this stage.
I can tell you that that's coming from the sideboard as well. It's another one of the sideboard cards that's...
another thing that black opens you up to.
Yeah. And I've decided to obviously pump up Ashiok and put over the top 3.
And you're getting an Omen Speaker and a Shuyun out of that, potentially.
And pass turn. So back over to James. Untaps, draws. And what can we see in his hand there?
Looks like a Jeskai Charm, is that?
Yep.
I think I see at least 1 land. There's a Plains, I think I saw at least 1 more land.
We've certainly got the attack with the Swift Spear, so dare I say...
Yep, comes in for Ashiok.
Comes in for Ashiok, puts it down 1.
Wild Slash, yep. So that's total 4 damage going to Ashiok.
Yep. No, it goes down to 1.
Yeah. Well, a total of 4 coming at it because it takes 2 from the Wild Slash. Oh, and God's willing to get that last point in.
Yep. And there goes the Ashiok to the bin. So I don't mind that as a trade from my point of view, however, because he's used 3 cards to get rid of the 1 Ashiok.
Yeah, he's used 2 spells and attacked with a creature. That's pretty good. Pretty good to trade.
So passing it back over to my turn,
and
I've got a follow-up Ashiok.
It's that Seeker of the Way, and Mardu Horde-Chief?
Yes, a Mardu Horde-Chief. Probably the Seeker of the Way I think I'd put out if I was get the opportunity.
Well, you could like make a Seeker of the Way and then play... and then in your following turns, you can start playing non-creature spells. You have a few that are that produce creatures.
I'm not sure that that Ashiok's going to last too long.
Not
anyway. But 1 more turn, I'll get out of it. It looks like. Certainly can't cast the Seeker of the Way now with Ashiok being on 1.
But that's that's another fog for a turn. I would call that. You're playing an Ornithopter.
I am playing an Ornithopter.
Do you have an Ensoul for that? Yes, you've got a 5/5 flyer now.
So I've got a 5/5 flyer, and that will certainly block that Mana Strider. Ashiok can probably go up to 3. Sorry.
Yep. Are you looking at yourself as more of the controlling deck at this stage?
I don't think so. I think I'm just trying to bide a little bit of time for my deck to get up and running by putting those Ashioks out and focusing his attention on Ashiok rather than myself. is what I'm looking for there, to give me more time to get into the game. Because I realise that he's a little bit low on cards in hand due to the fact that he had to use 2 cards plus the attack to kill the first Ashiok.
And is that you've got a stubborn denial for his Just Guy Charm?
That's right.
And sometimes a Planeswalker is just a multi-turn fog, and that's what you want. What you want from it.
And there we go, straight at the Ashiok.
Yep, 3 at Ashiok, 3 at your face.
And so Ashiok goes to the bin. And James, I realise at this point in time, has spent a lot of cards trying to deal with my Ashioks.
Yeah, you can't have much in his hand left. And you get to cast a Tasigur.
And I believe Tasigar's going to come out for 1 black, so that's a 4/5 monster for 1 black using the Delve ability with Tasigur.
And the best part about that is you get to sculpt what's left in your graveyard for when you activate his ability.
And try and get back, the best of what's already there.
Yep.
So still working out that Delve.
Oh, you're choosing to
I'm choosing
spend
to
3 mana?
Spend 3 mana and keep what's left in the rest of my graveyard. Now obviously that makes it difficult for the Swift Spear to get through, but the Madness Rider still has flying.
Yep.
And so can certainly easily come over the top of Tasigur, who's a bit lazy in his throwing.
Well, I've actually read the storyline on the website featuring Tasigur, and he's a bit of a lazy guy.
Yeah, gets his minions to do things for him.
Yeah, bit selfish.
Yep. And there comes Madness Rider over the top, dropping me to 13.
He reminds me a bit of King Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
And no play by James, so I think he scried there.
Yep. He's got what looks like 1 card left.
Yeah. I think I've just drawn an Ornithopter. Coming in with the Tasigur for some beats. Let's see how James reacts to that one. Taking the full 4, dropping him to 13.
Is that Ornithopter in Soul?
Ornithopter with Ensoul again, giving me a 5/5 flyout, and that will certainly block a Mantis Rider.
Or attack into it.
Now I think I can see another Tasigur in my hand there. And that's a Soulfire Grandmaster.
Yep.
And James passes a turn, bringing it back to me, draw a card. I was about to say I wouldn't mind hitting a 4th land because then I could at least use Tasigur's ability. And at this point in time, you think about racing.
Yep. Looks like he was sitting on a. His last card is a spell. I only caught a glimpse of what the picture, but it looked a bit like Ajani's Presence.
Now I've come out with a Monastery Siege here, which is a card I wanted to playtest with, and just see how good it was in this sort of deck. The cards I was really looking at were things like to prevent things like Red White Burn, Thought Seizers, and more importantly Crackling Dooms.
Yep.
Where it gets me to sacrifice that 5/5 Ornithopter that I've got, or 5/5 Dark Steel Citadel. That's why I actually had them in the main deck, wanted to play test them, and they were all right for the day. They weren't fantastic, but they certainly helped in certain situations.
Looks like you've written down dragons.
And I've written down dragons in this case.
Is that that's the mode that taxes the opponent that we were just talking about?
That's right.
Yep.
Stops them, targeting me with their burn, or makes it at least more expensive for them to target me with their burn.
And it can be very awkward facing that down if you want to make multiple plays a turn.
So I've attacked with the Ornithopter, put James down to 11, kept the Tassica at home.
Looks like he's playing a Magma Jet, is that?
Yep, and I'm just pointing out here that it's going to cost him an extra 2 to play that Magma Jet because of the Dragon's ability.
Yep.
To try and target me with it.
Okay, he wanted to use the Soulfire Grandmaster to keep it in his hand.
Yep.
To get activate buyback, but unfortunately he can't. And this is the an example of the strength of that card.
So because of the extra 2, he's had to pay 4 for the Magma Jet. Can't use the Soulfire Grandmaster ability there. And has to pass the turn back.
Yep, he's making an effort to race because he might as well attack with his flyer.
Yep. As I've got no flying defence at that point in time. Putting me down to 8 versus 13. And it looks like he doesn't have any cards left in hand.
I think he might still have 1 card in hand.
And I've drawn here, and it looks like it's a cloud form. But I've decided that I can't race, and just pass the turn straight back. Definitely a Tassica in my hand.
Yep. Now you want to be playing defensively because you're on 8 life, and burn can make things more awkward for you.
Coming out with it, James coming out with the Jeskai Ascendancy, and certainly does have 1 more card in hand there. Using the Tassica's ability at the end of James's turn. And
now, I do like how Tassica says non-land, so your opponent can't just keep giving you land. It looks like there's a Bident that was added to the graveyard on top of Stubborn Denial, Ashiok, Frostwalker.
and I actually believe the other card in my hand at this point in time is a Bident. Okay. So what I don't want him to pick is a Bident, because then it gives me 2 Bidents, and considering they're legendary, one sort of cancels the other out.
Yep.
But James certainly doesn't know that. There's a Frostwalker in there and Ashiok.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'd probably pick the Ornithopter. I'm not sure if I would pick Bident, not knowing that you already have 1 in hand.
Yep, and that's exactly what James has done there. He's picked Ornithopter.
Because that Bident could just break the stall that's sort of happening at the moment. You could make the Manus Rider attack into your 5/5.
Yep. And that, of course, was at the end of James's turn, so I got to untap and draw, cast that Ornithopter. And let's see what I come out with here. Now the Shrine's Nyx only gives me 2 at this point in time, so that's
Yeah, either 2 blue or 1 black.
yeah, so it's certainly not working to my advantage at this point in time.
Have you found that Nykthos was very good in the deck?
I did actually, obviously not during this particular game, but the deck list I originally looked at only had 1. I actually increased it to 2 because of Tassica and wanting to further exploit that Tassica buyback ability. So that's actually a reality shift in my hand. End of turn though, Tassica. Going to bring that in. And I'm going to have to tag myself out here and bring in the amazing Trent Clark for the rest of the game.
What's up, nerds?
How you doing?
I'm quite swell. I just had a well-cooked dinner, and now I'm going to watch some more Magic between Dave and James, is it? James? Is it James?
I believe so, yes.
Cool. James is a relatively new guy we haven't seen too much of him, so it's pretty cool to get him on camera. What game is this? Game 3?
This is game 2.
Game 2?
I think, yeah.
And who got the first one?
And James had the first one.
James had the first one. Take that, Dave.
And looks like Dave is waiting for James to make a decision.
This is a busy board. This is Tastiga's ability, I'm assuming?
Yep, Tastiga's ability.
Jesus.
Master of Waves has just been added to the graveyard.
Okay, so we have the Denial of Waves, and he gave him a Frostwalker.
Yep.
And we have a whole bunch of unorthodox blue cards in Dave's hand. Generally not what you see with blue decks. Frostwalkers and stuff. Like one of Lewis's picks for the set to be in Standard, I believe.
Yep. And it is.
Yeah, it is. It's doing well.
It has made an appearance.
It's doing well. There he is. He's on the field. He comes down. He's a bro. He does nothing here, but yeah, he gums up the board. He gums up the board.
He helps beef up the devotion a little bit, and he'll be a decent attacker next turn.
This was a couple of weeks ago, right? Because I remember seeing James's Jeskai Ascendancy list, and it was a bit of filler here and there, but ultimately it ran pretty well. It looked pretty cool. There was some techy stuff. I can't remember what I've seen that were quite liked.
There were some interesting cards in it.
Oh, that was over quick. That one. Chump that shit up and keep it there. I think there's a Timely Horde Chief. Horde Mate.
The Timely Horde Mate.
Yeah. This is the tech. This is a bit of the tech that I've seen. It was pretty spicy.
Yeah,
it's not bad if you can.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it gets back the. That's a nice, interesting little play there.
You just wanted the stoke. If you had the stoke, it would have been a lot better. Able to get rid of that Tastiga, although Dave does have a second one. He's something to that.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I think Dave said that he had it.
In for 5. Still in for 5.
Yep, it's flying, so James has got to decide how much he values his Manus Rider at this stage.
Manus, and he's going to get Manus is going to eat the face. Going to eat that rider's face, but no, it takes 5 more, and rightly so. I don't think he blocked there. No, golly gosh,
this is not the place that you block, and
this is not the place you want to be.
No,
this is bad town. Double insole.
Yeah, 10 points in the air against 3 points of flying.
It's good. It's value village from Dave Lane's perspective. What did we get off the Tastiga abilities? We did get a Frostwalker. Did we get something else? What is...
there was an Ornithopter an earlier turn.
Is it the Scroll of the Masters?
I didn't get a good look at it.
I'm pretty sure that's Scroll of the Masters. But if you play a non-creature spell, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And then I think it's... +2 and tap or something.
You get a lore counter on it, and you can pay 3 and tap it to give target creature +1/+1 for each lore counter on it. Very interesting.
The spicy meatball of the Jeskai Ascendancy list from James. No idea. James from Bendigo. I apologise for not knowing your name, dude. It's just kind of how it goes, I suppose.
Yeah, we've had a good influx of newer players.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's been good to see, even if I haven't learned all their names yet.
For sure. And like bringing their best A game that they can get from starting Magic as opposed to having the tier 1 list and stuff, and getting them on the show table and actually being competitive is quite good for them and everybody else, I suppose. They get to watch themselves and see how they play, and that's the most important part about this is actually not the commentary or anything. It's just about being able to watch yourself play and make sure that you make the right decisions and see how you look on camera, so that when you get to the big stage, you actually don't look like a complete idiot.
Yeah, a lot of the pro players get on camera so many times that they don't even think about it half the time, most of the time.
But you look at people like Willie Adel, they can't help but look like an idiot. Like, I love that guy. Shout out to Willie, he's a personal friend of mine. But it's just, you just can't help the way you look sometimes. This guy over here on the left, he's quite attractive though. I think Dave, he's MTG Grinders, bro. He's alright. He's not too hard on the eyes.
MTG Grinders, it's a good site.
It's a good site filled with good-looking people. That's 10 in the air. And that looks like a concession.
Yeah, that looks like game
2. Game 2.